It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledge it, knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
You heard the man, ladies and gentlemen. It's Topic Thunder. Welcome into the Thunderdome, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a spell, but you heard the man. They call him Biz. Check him out. Big fan of the show, and purveyor of all fine
right
things.
over here. Surely at some point he'll be right over here.
And what we were pointing at, ladies and gentlemen, if you need a refresher course, is the world's most dangerous chat zone. We call it the Thunderdome, and this is Topic Thunder. And we still, Ben got in, and I got in. We got those like dusters, and we were blowing the dust off the stools and the bar as quickly as possible because we were
undergoing renovations. Let's just say that the bar was undergoing some renovations. We're putting in some new toilets, a dartboard, maybe a pool table in the back.
We have plumbing now.
Yeah,
we have plumbing.
You guys, good news, guys. You don't have to piss in a bucket in the back anymore.
Not anymore.
More plumbing.
And that not just any bucket, that weird wooden iron like railed bucket. Like we didn't give you just like a steel pail. We tried to make it classy. You just make it a wooden, and it ended up like absorbing smells and odors that maybe made the situation not so pleasant. But you got through that. So congratulations, Thunderdome. So belly up to what we call the Internet Saloon. And we're going to be serving up some conversation, a little more general based, maybe not so much laser focused on things because so much has happened
in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, did something happen in the last 24 hours or so that
I don't know,
maybe was significant in some way?
I don't know. I don't pay attention to the news.
Hopefully, when I play this headline sound effect, something on the other end of it will tell us.
What? Well, but first. Gotta get yourselves quickly libated here because it's going to be a raucous conversation. Over the last couple of weeks, we made a run to the old liquor store and stocked up on some brown liquor for the holidays and the winter. And this one is Koval, a local brand here in Chicago, a beautiful bourbon. So we're going to give this a shot, and delicious.
There you go. I bet it's good. If it's $52 a bottle, it better be good.
That's like mid-range, and not even. I'm gonna get that. This is this is okay. All right. Okay. All right. From their website, they describe this as an unusual grain combination that provides notes of mango chutney and vanilla on the palate with a peppery caramel finish, and they're not lying. Although chutney sounds like some sort of like NWA South wrestler that like Ric Flair was going to run through on a like matinee.
Chutney? Yeah.
Chutney!
Dad effing Brooks in the house.
Dad effing Brooks. He would text me earlier wondering
if the show. Chutney, right? It's chutney.
Chutney.
I've watched enough cooking shows on television to know that it is pronounced chutney.
Chutney. All right. Well, Ric Flair wouldn't know, and he would just be like, "No, tell me, brother, that's not chutney." But get yourself some Koval because it's really good. Also, they were one of the companies in Chicago that pivoted during the very early stages of COVID. They made vodka and gin, and they started using that to make hand sanitizer.
Oh, wow, cool.
Very cool. So go Koval is delicious. But hey, there's a lot to talk about. And since I guess the nation's town hall is under siege, under a hostile takeover, which we'll talk about a little bit too, I feel we're becoming now the staple for a decent conversation in what's now, I guess, left of America after that red wave came in at. Oh,
yeah, about that.
Oh, yeah.
And Ma F and Jordan also in the house.
Ma F and Jordan in the house. We have like different level. We have different Patreon levels, but not Patreon levels, Patreon levels going on. But yeah, there was supposed to be some sort of red wave. And while it was not necessarily a blue wave, It was a very interesting election that happened yesterday. Not over yet, as we'll get to, but I know Ben, you were really concerned about.
Man, my day yesterday was schizophrenic.
Okay,
it really was. Because I was feeling good at the start of the day. I was like, you know what? I gotta believe that abortion was gonna play a big role. I gotta believe women are gonna get out and vote. I gotta believe more young people are gonna get out and vote. I just wanted to believe that they may not win, but it won't be so bad. And then as the day was going on, I was talking to my boy Michael V. I'm talking with you and Joe, and I just started getting this sense of like, maybe not, like maybe not, and like the dread of like what the consequences of a major majority would have been. Were I mean, if you were watching the show, you know I do believe that if Republicans are given a full control power, they control all three branches, they can do whatever they want. I tend to believe that they will do whatever it takes. Rules be damned, optics be damned, shouts of hypocrisy be damned. They will do whatever it takes to change the rules in their favor so they basically would never lose again. And that wasn't the case. You know, even here in West Texas, my polling station, the lines were long. You know, as the news was starting to trickle in, that a lot of people turned out, and that started changing me back. And by the time I went to bed, I was back to being a little bit more optimistic. And by the time I woke up in the morning, I was like, all right, you almost feel like it was a win for Democrats, even though they still lost control and are probably going to lose control of both the House and the Senate. It's just not as bad because without a major majority, there's still not a lot that's going to get done. It basically what's happened is we're going to have basically a stalemate for the next 2
and specifically, let's just look at Georgia, which has become like the capital for our national political debate, spoken or unspoken, right? Every issue that is a touch point in America is what's on the ballot every time there's an election in Georgia, whether it's a racial issue, women's rights, reproductive rights, you name it. Every deep wound this country has is represented in Georgia, and it's weird that Kemp wins over Abram
pretty
decisively too, right? I guess that just goes to speak about what base was more energized in that one. But with the Warnock Walker thing,
here's the thing. I think it's because Kemp is a far better candidate than Walker is. Like you really have to turn off any sense of morality and reality to vote for Herschel Walker, because the man was proven throughout this campaign to be a bold-faced liar, an unrepentant, bold-faced liar that when presented with evidence continued his lies in front of the whole world on fucking television. And to still have voted for him, you really had to be willfully ignorant and just say, I'm voting for Team Red. And I don't know that there were enough of those. I think there were people in the middle that were like, Warnock's not great, but he ain't Herschel Walker.
So here's this is according to CNN, 1.94 million Georgians voted for Warnock. That's good for 49.2%. 1.93 million Georgians voted for Herschel Walker, good for 48.7%. And 81,131 Georgians voted for some dude named or girl. I don't know. Just all I see is Oliver. They're the
libertarian. Oh, was it libertarian or independent? I thought I saw an L.
One of the two. I think.
Which libertarians are always there to fuck things up.
They're always there to fuck things up. Libertarian and Green Party, they are there to fuck things up. They took 81,000 votes. Look, so Georgia has a law that unless there's more than 50% vote collection for a candidate, they go to a runoff. So this is why we're not going to find out, obviously, what the Senate composition is going to be until December 6th when the runoff is. The difference between Warnock and Walker is 17,500 votes. That's a concert.
Yeah,
that's a full stadium of a sports game.
Yeah.
Right, worth of people. And 81,000 were like, hey, no, you know what? I'm gonna vote for this dude Oliver. And
because and I think there's a lot of those votes that were, I'm not voting for either party, right? I don't like either candidate, so I'm just going to vote for the third party.
Without probably having heard whatever Warnock, and I'm not partial to Georgia or very into Georgian politics. I don't know what the platform exactly was for the Democratic side. I've heard plenty of Herschel Walker to find out what his platform is, which is akin and parallel to the GOP platform, which is just, we complain about stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Offer no solutions, which made this election even more interesting. So we're still waiting on Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada to kind of figure out and get back to us as to what our national politics is going to look like for the next 2 years.
Some key things that I pulled away from some of the aftermath and also some of the stuff that was going on as it was happening. Number one, it is abundantly clear that there is a major rift in the Republican Party. There are a lot of people that are jumping off the Trump bandwagon. I follow a lot of conservative, people on social media because I like to stay informed of all sides of the arguments. And one of the people that I kind of use as a canary in the coal mine, so to speak, is Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro has a lot of sway. His voice carries a lot of weight in the conservative circles. And he came out this morning and basically said, this Trump guy's got to go, get out of the way. DeSantis is the guy. He was lauding Florida. And if you look at it, the Trump guys in all of the major battles where it was not obvious who was going to win, Trump lost all of them. All of them.
With the exception of, I think, J.D. Vance, notably.
But he was expected to win that even too.
Yeah, Carrie Lake, even though that even surprised that I know Chris mentioned what happened and what's up with Maricopa, Arizona. There's
nothing.
That's
nothing.
Yeah, but there's
nothing burger.
A lot of grievance, a lot of loonies out in Arizona now. There are certain. It just seems where, with all due respect to everybody in the audience right now, it just seems to where I bet you if you overlaid like baby boomer migration to some of where the now red states, Florida has been red for 40 years. There's been these bubblings, right, of Democrats that pop up, but have relatively a red stronghold for like 40 years. Really, realistically, didn't have a shot. Chris didn't have a shot with DeSantis.
No way. Although that was it was stunning how big he won, considering how close it was the last time. Ron DeSantis only won last time by 4%. He won by 18% this time around. 18%. That's the other takeaway, is that the Ron DeSantis machine is running. It is running. And he's getting Latinos to vote for him, and he's getting women to vote for him where he wasn't getting those people to vote for him last time. That dude's going to be a problem if Trump can stay out of the way.
Which he
I doubt he will, right? Because if you also listen to conservatives, the voices of conservatism right now, they are acknowledging too that the worst case scenario for Republicans is having Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump share a stage together as opponents in a primary, because both of their egos will not allow them to be the other to be punked out by the other on national television. And that's Trump's whole MO. He already started it with the DeSanctimonious thing, right?
Oh, he also
said if he runs, I'm going to tell you things about him he doesn't want you to know.
And in that same statement, he took a shot at DeSantis. I guess DeSantis's wife runs the campaign.
Yes.
And he took a shot at that dynamic. Like, oh yeah, and his wife runs the campaign too. And like, you are, I personally would pay good money on a pay-per-view for that to happen.
Must-see TV. If it comes down to that, the ratings for a Trump DeSantis debate will be incredible. The networks will be salivating at the amount of people that will be tuned in to watch that for a number of different reasons. People like you and I will be watching to watch the shit show. There'll be plenty of Republicans there to try to figure out who they're really going to support. I mean, it is going to be incredible, but it'll be interesting to see do the Democrats run Biden out there next time. I just don't see how that works. I don't see how that wins.
If there's not a stronger candidate by that time, and depending on how the next 2 years go, again, the way to win in this situation would be the appeal towards the center. That's what each party was trying to do in certain aspects, because the Democratic Party has their kind of leftist and extremist end towards that spectrum too of the horseshoe. We talked about the political horseshoe.
Yep.
That your AOCs, your squads, that's considered extremist leftist ideas, right? Socialist ideas, and then the other side, right? I'm not saying one is decidedly more violent and worse than the other. I'm not trying to compare them in that capacity, but the struggle is to get the people that are in the middle, the centrist people, the people that have beliefs on both sides, and I don't really have, I don't wave a flag for a team.
Yeah.
I wave a flag for good policy and good ideas.
And I think that's where DeSantis makes some inroads.
Oh, and he's well spoken. He's an attorney. He's a former Navy attorney, right? So he knows how to say something in a derogatory fashion with a smile on his face and make you feel good about the fact that he just, completely just dissed you, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Whereas Trump is as crass and crude as any deplorable is, and that's why he
no
subtlety, no sense of self, no irony, none of that, right?
Well, Courtney, you ask, who can be a legitimate Republican candidate option? I mean, DeSantis is the most legitimate Republican candidate. I mean, the people of Florida clearly love him. They love what he did for that state. We may not necessarily agree with it, but the people that lived in that state fucking love him. They made it very clear. They made it abundant.
Get out of here with that.
Tulsi,
get out of here with your Tulsi Gabbard
okay.
stuff.
No.
I hope you're joking. I just pray you're joking.
Yeah.
You're just push Brooks's buttons with mention Tulsi Gabbard.
To speak back more about, it kind of feeling like a win, even though you'll still lose, is that, and that's a weird feeling. But when you look at history, the midterm election after a new president comes in, historically, Obama got trounced in the midterms after he was elected. He ended up being elected for another 4 years, and was depending on what side you're on, it was generally successful. The only person that didn't was George Bush after 9/11. But that's a different landscape entirely.
Absolutely.
So absolutely. It's an outlier, and that's really what it is, because that's the only time it's happened in decades.
It's usually like a rebuke of the administration's current policy, right?
Check and balances. It's typically been a checks and balances, right? One side wins, The other side gets a little bit more motivated. So in 2 years, they get more motivated to get out and vote, and the cycle repeats itself. That's a win for Democrats because a lot of people saw a red wave coming, right? A lot of Republicans. I mean, and even independents, people who claim to be independents, like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, you can find the clip. Joe Rogan said there's going to be a red wave that's going to look like the elevator opening
in The Shining.
In The Shining, yeah.
There were Illinois politicians using clips of the Rogan show in their ads when he was mistakenly speaking about the Safety Act, the no cash bail act that the governor was trying to push through. I was blown away. Not to segue into Joe Rogan or certainly not another podcast, but you're absolutely right in that like DeSantis is now being set up. Well, Jesus Christ, I got that story right there from the New York Post. On the front cover of the New York Post, they call him the future, not DeSantis, the future. So all things, and they posterized him. It's a very lovely family. He's got the little girl. He's waving the American flag. Beautiful wife, as Ryan Hansen mentioned. America, right? Unless you believe in freedom and rights to everybody. But yes, I think we've talked about the Lincoln Project. We've mentioned the Lincoln Project before. Rick Wilson is one of the founding members of the Lincoln Project, right? He coined the phrase, "Everything Trump touches dies." And it's kind of what we saw this last election. Anybody that Trump pushed, which I guess he's furious about, which is even more fun.
Did you see the clip? I saw it with my own eyes, so I know that it happened. He was on some right-wing network last night, right? And the woman asked him, "What happens if the people that you back lose? What do you take any blame for that or what?" Swear to God, dead-faced, completely serious, the man said, "If they win, I get all the credit. If they lose, I get none of the blame. That's how it should be." Wasn't being sarcastic, wasn't being facetious, wasn't doing it with like a smile on his face or like a wink at the camera. Dead fucking serious. That man believes anything good happens is because of him. Anything bad happens is not his fault. That's the way that man operates. That's just how his life is like that. It's set up like that.
It's so impossible for even somebody who's marginally mentally healthy to imagine the depths of his psychosis. Because you just can't, because most of us lead like decent lives. We treat other people with respect. We might believe this or that or the other, but we are functional members of society, right?
Right.
We don't have these thoughts of grandeur and that how much better we are and have this narcissistic view of the world like that. Mm-hmm. It is really tough to wrap our heads around how deranged of a mind that is. You can see a lot of it with Kanye. He makes it very public in a very raw way, right? We look at it under the lens of, oh, he's a black rapper. Oh, but if you strip some of that away, that is a very raw, mentally unhealthy person. No excuse for the bigotry, no excuse for the anti-Semitism whatsoever, but it is clear.
Yeah, he said before when he's off his meds, he's likely to think and say and do things that are crazy.
It's just a different level with what it's called malignant narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
This Trumpian thing that this mindset that he'll sell his kids off if it was put between him going scot-free from a crime and selling out probably all but Ivanka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for
reasons
those things
we can get.
We don't know anything about those reasons. Absolutely, he would do so without hesitation, and the kicker, without remorse.
Yeah. and that's why, like, I have a level of respect, at least, for conservatives who back DeSantis, because I may not agree with his politics. I don't agree with the way that he handled COVID. I don't agree with some of the things that he does politically, but I can understand why someone would look at him and go, that guy's a natural leader. He doesn't have a whole lot of it. He's not saying crazy shit. He's just standing up for what he believes in, whether I agree with it or not. He's not the deranged where you just go, how does anyone with a functioning brain look at Donald Trump and go, that's the guy I want running the country?
Between the two, right? And that's the unfortunate choice, right? That you're it's a candidate by attrition,
sure,
basically, right? It's being forced to choose between the lesser of two evils, maybe, or like, okay, well, anybody's better than this guy, and I like that he's got a nice family, he's holding his children, because did that unless you saw those really weird, creepy pictures with his daughter Ivanka. But again, we don't know anything about that. DeSantis hits all those check marks, right? He was in the military, although he was just an attorney. Ever see that show Jag? He was one of those Navy attorneys, so he wasn't a fighter pilot, but right. We thank him. Topic Thunder thanks him for the service. Thank you very much, Ron DeSantis. But he's also really interesting the way he phrases things, because he does say the things that Trump does, but in a way that is not so crass and not so like blunt, I guess. Like this, like when he won by 19 points, which is ridiculous, and I think bears some investigation, but that's not what the Democrats are all about, I guess, right? But that 19 points in an election that hotly contested, I don't know, it just seems weird to me. Anyway, when he declared victory, he also said Florida is where woke goes to die.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is that? I don't even know what that means.
Do we have to mention life or death in a situation when it comes to political beliefs? Because I don't know, because that seems just as nasty as saying anything about Proud Boys, stand, whatever. And you're signaling, you're putting the words die in a sentence about political beliefs is incredibly dangerous, especially in these times.
Given the current climate, yeah.
Right. Quote, we not only won election, we have rewritten the political map. And that's another code because of the way they've rewritten all of the voting districts in Florida.
Yeah.
So he's signaling that this is my platform going forward, right?
That's why I believe that's the plan, not just in Florida. Florida was the guinea pig of can we do this on a small scale? And DeSantis is proving that yes, on a small scale, you can. And now he's feeling emboldened, and he's feeling then the momentum is going to, well, can I do this for the whole country? Can I turn Florida into the whole country? And he might be able to.
It's so much so that Trump's closest advisors, and I'm talking like Jason Miller and Kayleigh McEnany, are all saying you need to hold off on your big announcement you were going to make on November 15th. You're going to be really happy about, which is an allusion to his presidential nomination or bid announcement. But the Republican Party is so scared that he'll taint, which was an important runoff for December 6th for Georgia, right? That they're telling him, listen, pal, maybe not. Have you seen Jason Miller? Yes. To reply to Courtney, yes, he still has closest advisors. Jason Miller is probably the closest thing you probably get to a walking parasite. He is a soft-chinned, mush-brained individual that is a poor proxy clone for Seb Gorka, who's also a piece of a really interesting amoeba collection. A little off the rails, but hey, Ben, let me ask you a little bit of a segue question.
Yeah, well, I wanted to point out real quick before we move off of Florida, real quick. Not everything was terrible that came out of Florida. Worth pointing out that Florida did offer us, and we did get voted in the first Gen Z candidate to a government position. Happened in Florida.
Malcolm
25-year-old guy won a seat in the House of Representatives in the state of Florida. And that is great to see, because the Democratic Party desperately needs young candidates, younger people. And that, for what I understand, it looks like he ended up losing in Wisconsin, but Mandela, the guy that ran against Ron Johnson.
Nelson.
There you go. There was some thought that if he could beat Ron Johnson, that it might give a little bit of a Barack Obama-esque momentum, and they thought he might be a future star of the party.
That's also a weird race too.
Yeah, Wisconsin. I mean, you're asking people from Wisconsin to make a decision. Have you ever met anyone from Wisconsin?
A lot.
Generally speaking, I wouldn't let them choose anything for me.
Really good.
There's some really good people in Wisconsin. There are people I love in Wisconsin.
Love folk.
The majority, though, are trash people who I wouldn't want anywhere near anything of importance ever.
With probably the exception of the downtown Milwaukee area.
Yes. Rural Wisconsin is filled with shitheads. Everyone.
Can confirm. Oh, and fuck the Packers too. You guys are getting exactly what you deserve.
That's exactly why I hate them the most, is because they're Packer fans.
So I was going to ask you a really existential question, Ben.
Ooh, I love those.
Do you believe in God?
No.
I do now, because to reward the state of Florida for their awesome political decisions, God's decided to send a hurricane right at them again.
Log off, guys.
Yeah, I just wanted to make that joke, is really what this next story is about, as Hurricane Nicole strengthens on approach to Florida. Woo. I wonder if the future is going to tell people to evacuate in time like he didn't last time.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to...
He dodged a bullet that last time.
Tell that to like almost the 200 people that died.
Yeah.
And the response too, right? The prioritization of who got their power back.
And it affected nothing about whether people in Florida voted for him or not.
I'm sure those neighbors were like, "Whoa, it's not his fault. He didn't know. He didn't know." I don't know why they talk like that. I don't know what a Floridian talks like. I imagine it's a hodgepodge, and it's just the Golden Girls just
missing teeth.
Well, I can't do that because I've got mine.
Yeah.
So hey, I know
we've been off for a couple of weeks, and a lot of shit's been happening with our boy Elon Musk.
Oh man, and I know I brought some attention to it, and maybe I didn't so eloquently explain my concerns about this. I certainly hope the last handful of weeks or month or so has kind of highlighted the things that I couldn't so eloquently bring to the table. In that putting what is our nation's town square, like it or not, it is where America goes to have a conversation. To put that in the hands, private hands, of a man who has seriously dubious connections to China, Saudi Arabia, and apparently now Russia. The way the whole thing went down, the way he made the offer, tried to pull it back, they got into it, right, legally, and then almost at 0 hour, conveniently before a midterm election, he agrees to pay the original price, which was a ridiculous buy, especially after he tanked the share price of Twitter with all of his nonsense in the lead up to the purchase.
And the price of Tesla.
and the price of Tesla, and I think SpaceX also took a hit. So his three businesses all suffered the minute he acquired Twitter and touched Twitter.
He sold like $4 billion worth of Tesla stock last week.
And I think that would be what 11% of what he has to pay for Twitter.
Dude, it has been fascinating to watch it. How about he takes over, fires a bunch of people, right? Like 11,000, like half the staff, right?
Half the staff. I think it was 7,500. Oh no, don't get confused with what Mark Zuckerberg's going to announce. The 11,000 from Facebook and Meta.
People, yeah. But he fires all these people, right? Then asks the remaining people, tells the remaining people that they're going to be required to work 84-hour work weeks. Then figures out that a lot of the people he fired were actually important to the day-to-day operation of Twitter, and was like emailing them back like, hey, would you mind coming back? I mean, what a fucking shit show. And then he's on Twitter arguing and pandering to Stephen King about the fee for the blue check mark. He's going to charge people to be verified. Like, that won't cause any fucking problems. Like, it's like he's just reacting, and then once he does something, then is figuring out like the repercussions of those actions, and he doesn't stop making actions without thinking of the repercussions. He spent 44 million or whatever trillion, whatever it was like, what is it,
$44 billion.
$44 billion on Twitter. We said it when it happened on these airwaves. We talked about the fact that how are you going to recoup that money? How is that going to be a good investment? We found out very quickly his idea was to sell the blue check mark.
They also floated ideas of just putting the whole site behind a paywall.
Yeah.
And Jesus. A lot's come out since about what will happen, and I believe it went
Russian
live.
Spam bots are back, Brooks.
Sweet guys, it's xxx69.online. There are hot girls there. There's a heart shape. There's a wet shape. Ladies, gentlemen, get your xxx69.online right here. We bring you everything here on.
Please don't click that link, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't click that link. Don't do it. We laugh at it.
This whole Twitter thing has been hilariously comical. Stephen King is like, at first he says he's going to charge $12 for the blue check mark, right? And Stephen King's like, what? You. I'm not doing that at all. I'll just leave. And Elon Musk literally replies, well, I got to recoup my investment somehow. How does
$8?
He's literally negotiating. I posted a meme about it where only in this current climate can we watch on social media a billionaire argue with a millionaire over $8 a month. I mean, where are we at?
I'm trying to put this all together because you're on the surface, right? You're like, it's Twitter. I don't get Twitter. It's a social media app. I don't understand it. What's it? Oh, sexyfine.info. Wow, we're really
their private photo.
Guys, we're touching a nerve right now.
We have the Russians have gotten on us.
Hi, Da Comrade. Hey, Comrade, how many potatoes did you get to spam us?
Yeah.
Did they give you were they soft boiled or were they fresh potatoes from the ground?
Yeah,
I just want to know.
I'm reminded because there's so much going on in my brain right now. I'm running at like a million miles a minute. But another thing on the Elon Musk thing that I thought was fucking awesome was Valerie Bertinelli and a number of other celebrities who are already verified were changing their settings and their name to Elon Musk, changing their background photo, changing their avatar. So it appeared that Elon Musk was posting things that Elon Musk is never going to post or retweet.
Gigi brought it up. Kathy Griffin was actually I think the first one to do it. I know Sarah Silverman did it. Yep. Her account got suspended. A bunch of people did it because that was the thing, right? You didn't have to pay for a verified stamp or a blue check mark prior to this, right? You actually were awarded one due to the number of followers you gained because they wanted to make sure
that you were real. That you the blue check mark was to verify that you are that celebrity.
That you are, or you are this scientist, or you are this professor, or you are this journalist, or you are this government official. Right. So it had nothing to do with money. That I could do $8 a month. Shit, I could do $32 a month and have me 4 verified accounts, right? I can get me CM Brooks and I can go hog fucking wild verified, right? And just go, woo, shoot day, woo,
shoot day.
If I wanted to. But that's the problem with being able to pay for that blue check mark is that it doesn't mean
it ruins the whole point of the check mark.
I took a screen cap today. There were 2 LeBron James accounts that popped up with the blue check mark today because that feature went live today. That were announcing his request for a trade from the Lakers.
Yep.
And it was at King James, but there was, instead of the S, it was the Z. And it had the blue check mark. And
they do the same pictures and avatars.
Same everything, same type, same everything. And guess what? It might not be a big deal to you because it's LeBron James. Who cares? But NBA Twitter went fucking nuts for a minute. And people had to oh my God. It's like when you get those fake Adam Schefter accounts and Trade Time. And it sends people crazy that are specific to that particular piece of information. So if you're a verified account posting information, I don't know, about a highly contagious airborne disease, and you're communicating the scientific evidence that has been brought to the scientific community and vetted properly, and somebody else can just change a letter in your name at the very end where people's not going to see it and still get the verified picture and post something completely erroneous. And then, like I just said, I've got $32 extra a month. I'm going to make 4 of them. And just, so that's
he just clearly didn't think any of this through. It just strikes you as somebody that he just did something and didn't think about the butterfly effect of his actions.
And we haven't even talked about all of the advertisers that have already pulled out. Big advertisers. I think Chevrolet, General Mills, Nestle have all pulled out of their I was reading a very interesting article. I guess Twitter does they do like pre-buys for their ads, and they do like a conference every year where in a good year, Twitter sells like 20 to 30% of their ad inventory at this one event. So they're guaranteed X amount of operating dollars for that year already, and then they're left to fill into 80 to 70% of that ad inventory. They had that meeting after Elon took over, and 0%. No pre-buys. So on what they were imagining would be an additional $700 million of revenue to the company in advertisement pre-buys doesn't exist for this fiscal year moving forward for Twitter. So what you're legitimately seeing is a billionaire begging for money.
Yep.
Begging for us, for people, anybody. And look, other billionaires might not be so frugal with their money. It'd be like, I don't mind spending a couple $100 million to verify. How many accounts is that, comrade?
Yeah.
And that's the danger of this whole thing now, especially that he's basically let go everybody that had anything to do with security, like Chris said, the coding and security. That's why Twitter is suffering now some major problems and outages, because you can't keep up with all that code without people sitting there monitoring it. And they got rid of everybody that dealt with content moderation. Go figure why.
Again, when you hear those things, you think, how did a man who accumulated that amount of wealth, he's not stupid, right? Like Elon Musk isn't dumb. I don't know that
he's not dumb. And I want to acknowledge Red Pac, our good friend, jumping. I didn't 50 to 60% is insane. Thank you for correcting me too. We always appreciate that from the Thunderdome. But if that's the ad buy up front, then yeah, that just means he was shitting his pants even more. I'm sorry, Ben. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no, you're not at all. I don't think he's dumb, right? Like there are things that he's very smart about, but this whole thing exposes him as a terrible businessman.
Oh yeah, he's not a CEO.
He's
right?
not at all in any way an executive. He is a guy that knows a lot about a few things that are very fringe, right? Like engines and building, electric cars. I believe that guy knows what he's talking about in that realm, right? Like he has a basic knowledge, at least enough of a knowledge where he's not a complete fucking idiot. In business, he's a complete fucking idiot.
You can hire all the right people and be made to look really good by those people.
True too. And that is long been the accusation of Elon Musk, is that he has taken credit for other people's ideas a lot along the way.
You can understand like a workflow because you can see an org chart and you can be presented with this is how this PowerPoint. Okay, I get it. Okay, that movement. Okay. But to know the minutia and to he's not a coder, he's not an engineer. He's I think Aunt Chris and I trust her opinion on this. For sure, he appears to be on the spectrums in some regard at that point, right?
Sure.
But I don't know how smart he is in that. He's the genius that everybody makes him out to be. He's a shrewd businessman raised by shrewd business people.
Yes.
And that's what he knows. So those types of people don't necessarily make great leaders, don't necessarily make great CEOs, but if gifted billions of dollars, can survive mistakes, which he's made through the years, that other people just can't fathom.
Sure. So that's a good point. You make a very strong argument the other way.
I just say, if you and I took the leaps that he did, we might not have been so lucky. And I'm not trying to take anything away from the guy, but in that, he's this wonderkin. I'm not sold on that. However,
by the way, he removed. You have the story pulled, and I'll removed Twitter's days of rest, which were monthly days off for employees to rest and recharge, in his push to implement a 24/7 work culture. He has also been a big
anti-union
detractor, anti-union, also anti-work at home.
He told everybody at Twitter that you can't work from home anymore. What?
These people have options. That's why he still operates from this business mentality of I'm the employer and I have the power. And it's bro, you don't have that power anymore. Those people can go somewhere else where they don't have to deal with a dickhead like you, where they can work from home, right? He has been he moved from California to Texas over unionization and taxes that he was having to pay in California. The guy is he is a capitalist. Make no mistake about it.
And he makes his money on basically government subsidies. Look it up. It goes all the way back to those, as Red Pac accurately lets us know that those government subsidies go all the way back to apartheid South Africa and emerald mines, where his family's business was raised billions of dollars on the backs of blood and slaves. So just look, SpaceX has got a ton of government contracts, subsidies, right? Tesla benefits extremely from
Tesla would have gone out of business a long time ago without government subsidies. Yeah,
in either building gigafactories or in the electric car credits. That's an underlooked thing. That like, hey, the government's going to give you a $5,000 credit to buy this car. Oh, look, look, we're Teslas. Check this out, right? Because they're everywhere. You don't know about the other ones, right? Mm-hmm. I think the thing with Musk is that we talked about it. He has some attention thing. He likes attention because if you're really that powerful and we don't know your name.
Sure.
Right? We don't know
dark money, right? That's why they call it dark money.
Not only that, but like, okay, so who's the CEO of Oracle?
No fucking clue.
No idea. And Oracle owns networking equipment and software across the globe. Right?
Probably is important that we know who that guy is.
But he's not out there wagging his dick out on the internet and in public for everybody to go, hey, look at me, right? But he's moving and shaking, right? Who's the CEO of Huawei? Besides the
Chinese government?
China government, right. But like a point made, I hope like we don't know those certain CEOs that have might have a greater impact. And that we're in this frenzy because here comes this boy wonder with all his emerald blood money and buying up social media empire that he might not have fully understood the ramifications of, or like we talked about, easily persuaded if somebody comes in and tells him, oh, you're such a good boy, you're just such a smart guy, look how much money you got, man, you are so witty on Twitter, oh my god, you got a comeback for everybody, I've said you're a handsome man, look, have you lost weight, you look good in that shirt, oh my god, like okay, like hey, I had this idea, I had this really wild idea, you've talked on Twitter before about buying, so why don't you? I got some friends out in Saudi Arabia that are willing to float you a lot of money. I know some Chinese investors that are willing to kind of kick in a little bit, so maybe it won't hurt so much. Maybe we can talk about.
That'd be interesting to find out that was the case.
Just the fact. Okay, well, one of the stories that we have, just the fact that Saudi Arabia is a buyer and a backer in this raises a ton of security concerns. Drop your political affiliations for a second and just think about two things: 9/11 and Jamal Khashoggi. Saudi Arabia is no friend to us. I don't care what the WWE thinks.
Right.
No friend to us. In fact, it might be trending in the other direction. And the only reason that there is a relationship, tenuous as it might be, is because Saudi Arabia would get erased from the map if it wasn't for U.S. military backing, if Iran decided to, you know what, you guys are dicks. We're done with you.
Yeah. So, right here, they're talking about Musk's relationship. That's crazy. Look at that. The prince, he said they would help Musk finance the purchase of Twitter by rolling over their existing stake worth about $1.8 billion. CNBC reports.
Doubling it, but there's more to it. There's other investment companies tied to this, but no, that you don't bury the lead. Look at that quote at the end.
No, we're together all the way.
Together all the way. What the hell does that mean?
Well, together? And then you look at this. China is Tesla's second largest market, and the company produces around half its cars in China-based factories.
He's compromised.
Does he have a vested interest in protecting China and China's interests?
He's
probably
compromised.
Yeah.
I subscribed to Twitter while working a DJ gig in 2009 when I was going back to school after the tsunami in Japan, because the information coming was real time and it was mind-blowing, the devastating effect of that tsunami. And not even, excuse me, talking about like the Fukushima situation, just the tsunami itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I was in radiology. So I was like, oh God, Fukushima. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Right.
Twitter has been.
Okay.
Hold on.
Hey, oh. Got caught with the coughs. Got you caught with the frogging.
That just feels like a Sahara spot on one side of your throat.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Hello, Judy! Woo!
Judy!
I don't even remember what I was talking about, but
yeah, I've been sidetracked.
yeah, Elon Musk. Security concerns, Saudi Arabia.
There we go. Yes,
the investment in our town hall. It is a security concern, especially when he comes in and starts like the idea that anybody could be verified. Just start putting these pieces together, right? Like, why would you do that? What you're welcoming disinformation. You just fired everybody about that did anything with content moderation, and then you welcome in this ginormous area for grift, for a scam, for misinformation. And again, who are your friends buying up this used car and fixing it up?
Mm-hmm.
We look. We had a lot to talk about. We tried to do it best we can, but I think there's some stuff that we can kind of step away from, and
unwind a little bit with
just kind of have a woof moment or two here. And I'm having
like this former boxer.
I don't know, man. I want to ask you this: if I asked you to move 22 tons of anything, anything. What would you say?
Brother, I would love to, but I wouldn't even know where to start.
Well, apparently former heavyweight boxer Goran Gojic figured out some way to do it because he was caught Monday by the Department of Justice trafficking 22 tons of cocaine, which is worth a surprisingly paltry amount of $1 billion.
Yeah, the price of cocaine has clearly gone down.
I don't travel in those circles, so I couldn't tell you what exactly all that like.
I don't know, man. That still might be expensive. I don't know.
That just seems light to me for 22 tons.
That's a lot. Cocaine. That's a lot of fucking 22 tons of anything is a lot. Cocaine, especially though.
That's a lot of cocaine.
That is
like
he looks like a guy that's trafficked cocaine though.
It looks like a guy who's done some cocaine. I don't know. Maybe he has killed people for cocaine. Inflation. Dad effing Brooks. Hello with my little tons of cocaine. Yes, sounds like an entrepreneur. Not a good one. He got caught, and he's probably going to face at least 10 years in prison. So,
how does he get? He was boarding a plane. It says here, but he couldn't have put 22 tons of cocaine in his bag, right? I mean, like they weigh that shit before they put it on the airplane. It would have. I mean.
According to prosecutors, the cocaine was transported to Europe from Colombia using American ports. The scheme used cranes and nets at night to hoist cocaine into cargo ships. So it wasn't necessarily caught him with it, but they figured out that he was the ringleader and the go-between.
Gotcha. I still like the idea that he had 22 tons of cocaine in his bag. Like he pulls up to the gate, like. And he's like dragging his bag, and it's super heavy. They're like, like the Egyptians moving stones for the.
Sir, do you want to check that in? No, overhead. I'll make it fit. No.
Stuff in the overhead.
Sir, I don't think that's no. It's a fit. I promise. It's not 22 tons
just
of
a
cocaine.
Giant bag of cocaine.
It's not.
Sir, we're gonna have to look inside this bag. Oh no, it is okay.
It's a bad idea. Okay. No. No troubles. No trouble. Not cocaine in bag.
Oh my god.
Hey, we talk about things from space a lot, right? So I guess this would be our
It's
kind of
quiet here in this secluded area of Nevada County.
Oh,
People around here are multi-generational.
I don't know what's going on with multi.
The link had a video that started playing automatically.
It had nothing to do with what happened in Sacramento. This story was shared with me from Mr. Ryan Hansen, but I also had it earmarked for the show. It's right up our alley, folks. In Northern California, officials are looking into the possibility that a meteorite destroyed a home in Nevada County Friday night. The house caught fire after several witnesses described a bright ball of light falling from the sky. It's in a quiet, secluded area of Nevada County where the rolling hills are where cattle graze. I don't know why they're describing it like that. Just get to the fucking story here. People around here are multi-generational cattle farmers and ranchers. Cool, Dustin Prosita. Thanks. But that was his home that got struck by a meteor. Wide open spaces. This was the kind of cattle farm ranch area and not much around it, said Captain Josh Miller of the Penn Valley Fire Department. Until Friday night. I heard a big bang, and I started to smell smoke when I went onto my porch, and it was completely engulfed in flames, Prosita said. It appeared a bright ball of light which lit up the Northern California sky around 7:30 p.m., landed in the middle of nowhere, KCRA. Hold on, let me try that again. KCRA reported. They said it was a meteor, Prosita said, and when it was asked about how he thought it might have hit his house, he said, I've always watched meteor showers and stuff as a kid, but I definitely didn't look forward to them landing in my yard or through my roof. I didn't see what it was, but from everybody I talked to, it was a flaming ball from the sky, landed in the general area.
We believe this guy?
Yes, because we just passed through the torrid meteor stream. So the torrid meteor actually, segue, but not too far off of our usual stuff. The torrid meteor stream is what is thought to be responsible for the cataclysmic events that happened about 2,500 years ago, which ended the Pleistocene era. Right. So we're talking Graham Hancock's grand theory, backed up by Robert Bouval and Robert Schoch, who all date to some ginormous global catastrophe that flooded the world on an unimaginable scale almost 13,000 years ago. It's when we passed through the tail of this meteor, the torrid meteor, and the big rock hit us somehow. So we pass through this every year. They're called the Perseids, they're called the Torrids, and we see the debris of this comet every year. So this is one of them. We literally passed through it. It came into the atmosphere, and it literally just smacked this dude's house and lit it on fire.
Crazy, bro. That is fucking nuts. That is fucking nuts.
Probably better odds playing the Powerball.
Yeah, like what are the odds that your house is going to get hit by a goddamn meteor?
Well, it's interesting you say that because astronomy.com had a really interesting article that asked, what is space junk and why is it a problem?
Oh, good. By the way, I do agree with Ryan. I got to wonder, insurance probably doesn't cover meteorites, does it?
They don't cover anything at this point. What's the point, right? They don't ask those people in Florida if they have flood insurance.
They don't.
If their insurance covers flood, it's an extra insurance policy, especially if you're in a floodplain. It's an insane amount of money, so they probably don't. Just hang on to this sentence. A new study suggests there's a 10% chance someone will be killed by falling space junk in the next decade. Just for the record, when I was DJing and started doing my own weddings, in my contract, I had a clause that covered force majeure, which was basically Latin for act of God. So if I was DJing your wedding and there was an act of God and I couldn't make it, well, I still got paid.
There you go.
I also had insurrection and riots, by the way. Just
Really?
Before they were cool.
Before that was cool. Yeah, exactly.
Before that was really cool. I still have that contract. I can prove all of it, folks. I can prove it all. But you know,
I'm sorry. A 10% chance that someone gets killed by flying space junk isn't ELE. All right.
10%. I think. I don't know.
That's a lot. 10% is a big chance of space junk falling out of the sky and killing someone.
I gave you 2 stories of stuff falling from space with the potential to kill people. That is the Ellie, because there's. So it's hard to explain, right? But we can't see what's on the other side of the sun because it's the sun.
Right. It's very bright.
We literally have to send things out into space to see what's out there, and it's terrifying.
Right.
It's horrifying.
It's worse than the ocean, and the ocean is terrifying. Yeah.
Literally planet-killing rocks out there that are just waiting to crash into something fun.
Right. Just out there waiting.
And we could talk about stories about the rancher. What's the odds of this rancher? Blah blah blah. We don't have to look too far in our planet's history. While it might seem crazy to say 65 million years ago, that's nothing in the blink of an eye of a 4 billion year old planet.
Mm-hmm.
That a rock from space came and wiped everything out. That's like saying, hey, do you remember what happened 5 years ago to the planet? Okay.
I don't remember anything about 5 years ago.
I try not to. I try to bury all that.
I can't remember last week.
I'm super good at repressing things. Ask my therapist. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hear lightning, I hear thunder. It's been a minute. It's shoot down. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while, so let's remind you what's going on right now and why we're headbanging. This is the lightning round, where not only thunderbolts show up in the world's most dangerous chat zone, we call that the Thunderdome, but eventually this is what occurs in a Thunderdome. 3 stories enter. 1 story gets read, and that's chosen by you, the people. And without any dilly-dally, ladies and gentlemen, we get to headline from WKQX. Number 1. New study. Fish can get addicted to meth after eating human poop.
All right.
After a rousing start.
Fish addicted to meth.
Everybody loves fish and poop. Headline number 2. Woman charged with sending a bee swarm on deputies at eviction.
Yes. Not all heroes wear capes.
Just have a swarm of bees that they can come in.
Is that a superpower?
It should be. It should be.
She comes out. I can imagine this woman stepped out on her front porch and just raises up this swarm of bees and just goes, attack bees.
And then they come out of her mouth. They're like, it's just bees
everywhere.
Oh, you were typing in all caps. I almost thought we had another Ruski in the chat.
Did too. I was like, oh no, another Russian bot.
There is one more option, and we call that headline number 3.
Fish and meth is served at Long John Silver's.
That's all you gotta ask for. With the extra crispies too.
Man, I love
headline number 3. Police say a Van Buren man was shot to death by a homemade security device in his home.
Karma.
Don't yell at me that I don't make it competitive, at least here, ladies.
Wow, that's gonna be hard. Fish addicted to meth.
As we await the Ryan Hansen remix.
Yes, the remix.
We're gonna go through these one more time as you're contabulating your votes at home.
Woman, how does that not win? I gotta know about that.
Dogs and bees can smell fear, ladies and gentlemen. Headline number 1. A new study says that fish can get addicted to meth after eating human poop. You just like to say the word poop because you can pop the peas. It's fun for radio. Not really. Headline number 2. Woman charged with sending a bee swarm on deputies during an eviction.
I'm just picturing a Marvel movie.
Bees,
Scarlet Witch.
Just
sending
bees
those
just swarming around her.
Yeah.
And headline number 3, police say a Van Buren man was shot to death by a homemade security device in his own home.
What you deserve. Law enforcement, beware.
There she is. There's the remix, the GG remix. Oh, we're competing remixes now. It's gonna
All
be
right,
like
guys,
this.
let's get these votes coming in now. This is
Get
gonna
your
be a tough
votes
one.
in.
Man, fish and meth is good. Yeah, I got to go with number 1, says Courtney. I need to know just how many meth heads are pooping in the waterways. All right, here we go. Meth mouth tuna shit sandwich. SWAT team gets swarmed. And friendly fire folly.
No, Ryan Hansen remix never disappoints.
No. Isn't the story number 2 the exact plot of the Wicker Man?
Well,
2
find
votes.
out.
Mod Jordan coming in with a vote for number 1. 3 votes for number 1.
We got 3 votes for number
Chris
1.
Is going with number 1.
Gigi, is that a vote for number 2? I mean, we're looking for votes here.
Technically,
Votes. We're our Russian friends. Who's voting?
Dad F and Brooks going with number 1. I think one's going to run away with us. People are interested
voting.
in fish poop. Fish and poop. Number 1 again, duh. So number 2 gets a vote, but number 1's running away with this thing. I just don't know how we don't. I feel like we need to know about this bee lady though.
I don't know, man. I think we might want to save this and might recirculate that one.
It might have to come back for a round later. Yeah.
You've spoken, ladies and gentlemen, and we will read it. Your headline, your winner for this lightning round, 11/9/2022.
I agree with you, Gigi. She harnessed bees, for fuck's sake, people.
We got to listen to the people. This is the democracy. Just hold on to your bees, ladies and gentlemen. Mind your beeswax. Ah! So, according to a new study from the Journal of Experimental Biology, fish in the Czech and Slovak republics have been getting addicted to methamphetamines thanks to heavy doses of the drug that's been discharged into wastewater that gets flushed back out into their habitats. In some parts of Europe, methamphetamine use is elevated. For example, sewage-based epidemiology studies of illicit drugs in raw sewage identified relatively high consumption in the regions of Czech and Slovak republics. Consequently, methamphetamine was previously observed in surface waters of the Czech Republic at levels hundreds of nanograms per liter. Now, the story goes on to explain all the fun stuff about the addiction and what happens, blah, blah, blah. What I thought was really important to note was that what this does to the fish.
Yeah, like what does a meth addicted fish do? Because like they can't just go buy meth. They're a fish.
You're onto it because I was completely like, what the fuck?
They don't have dealers.
The real problem here is that the addicted fish are then drawn to wastewater plants in order to get their meth fix, which could potentially mess up the entire aquatic ecosystem. Quote from the study: such unnatural attraction to one area together with documented changes in behavior could result in an unexpected ecological consequence influencing the whole ecosystem. Furthermore, drug reward cravings by fish could overshadow natural rewards, such as foraging or mating, that provision homeostatic and reproductive success, and further reinforce the adverse ecological consequences of pollutants in the aquatic environment.
Ryan Hansen poses a great question. Can you get high from eating these fish?
I think we need to find out. I think we need to take a trip. Where is this study from?
Slovakia, and
this is so all right. I've been to Prague in Czechia, as they call it. Now let's go. I'll eat the fish.
So all right, the folks in the chat room think that drug addicted fish is ELE. Meth fish, $10.99 a pound. Do you imagine you go to? Yeah, I want some of that meth fish.
Yeah. You got any of that meth carp?
Meth carp. Oh yeah.
All right, we'll accept that as the Ellie here too, I guess. I mean,
it could fuck up the ecosystem, right?
it's not just in the wastewater of Czech or Slovakia either. It's just where they were looking for this. Like,
exactly, exactly. That's just where they found it. Right. You can imagine that there's fish all over the place eating fucking meth-filled poop. Yeah, and becoming addicted to it.
Don't talk about the Adderall problem in America. Right. That is don't do that.
When we talk about the opioid crisis, right? And it's nothing. Fentanyl, nothing. Meth fish is the big fucking problem.
Meth fish. I think that's what we're gonna leave you with here tonight. Reddit. Breaded meth. Oh, hey, you know, okay, sweetheart, give me a order of them breaded meth fish balls too with the wings. Thanks, sweetheart.
Meth fish. Chutney.
Chutney! Woo! It was Topic Thunder, I think 92. Wow. It's been a couple of weeks, but yeah, we appreciate everybody coming back and joining us again for another good conversation. And we hope you enjoyed the show, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back next week, and we'll have much more to talk about. Of course, the conversation never ends, as Ben also hosts the Nameless Retro Wrestling Show. Ben, what you got coming up for us?
Yeah, taking the week off this week. We got a new thing coming up, the Pro Wrestling Multiverse. We're going to take 3 territories. We're actually starting in January 1986, and we're watching 3 different television shows: Jim Crockett Promotions, Mid-South Wrestling, and Memphis. And we're watching all 3 at the same time, as if it were the multiverse, right? Like Dusty Rhodes appears on both shows at the same time, doing 2 completely different things. It's amazing. So we'll get into it. It's going to be a fun way to something different than just watching one single show. We're going to be following along on a week-to-week basis, like going back and imagining like we're flipping the channels like the old Monday Night Wars, but with territories from 1986. It's going to be
Fish Fry in episode 100. You got it, Courtney.
Wow, Fish Fry and Get Fried.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Absolutely. From the deck of the SSS Rapapa. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Topic Thunder. Thanks for listening. We love you.